HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Today I'm talking about promises, specifically the promises that we make to ourselves. Now, when we think of promises, I think a lot of the times we picture promises we make to other people. You promise someone that you're going to call them at a certain time, you're going to be there, you're going to do something, you're going to give them something. But rarely do we think about the promises that we make to ourselves. And I think those are the most important because I believe everything really starts and ends with ourselves. So if we're able to keep promises to ourselves, then we can more frequently and more consistently keep promises with other people. One of the things that I just have to say gets under my skin, something that this is like a mini rant right now. It's when people lack integrity, when folks say they're going to do something or be somewhere or be a certain way and they fall short. And in the past, I used to take those things personally. I used to take it personally when a friend would say they would call me at a certain time and they didn't. I used to take it personally when somebody said that they would, they'd be down to get together for dinner over the weekend, and then they flaked. But now I'm realizing that what that really communicates is their ability to keep promises with themselves, and the degree to which they can, really hold their word with other people is the degree to which they do it with themselves. And so this episode is really just about hammering home the importance of, if you make a promise to yourself, you need to keep it. You need to keep it because the ripples of keeping that promise or not keeping that promise, they extend and they touch everything. They touch everything. And so whether that promise is, if you're listening to this show right now, so I know that you're interested in personal development. And I have to believe that you've been like me, and at times you said, okay, I'm going to start a journaling habit. I'm going to journal every night before bed for 5 minutes. And I'm going to journal all my gratitudes. And then you do it for 2 nights and you don't do it the third night. And then now that habit is gone. You didn't even really get started with the habit. Or you say to yourself, I'm going to start getting fit. I'm going to work out 4 days a week for 30 minutes each time. And you might do it for 1 week and then it fizzles off, right? All of those things are promises that you're making to yourself that you're then breaking. And each time you break a promise to yourself, no matter how small or how big, each time you do that, it gets harder for you to make a promise and keep it next time. Because what you're doing is you're essentially telling yourself that you aren't trustworthy. Your confidence goes down. Your self-esteem is impacted. And your overall experience of life is impacted every single time that you make a promise to yourself and you don't keep it. Because one of the biggest things that you're doing when you make a promise and you break it is you're saying you don't value that person. And in this case, you're saying you don't value yourself. You don't value yourself enough to keep even the smallest of promises. And that stuff, man, that stuff has impact. It's one of those things also that you don't even really, you don't even consciously grasp. We don't even consciously understand that each time we break a promise to ourselves, we're saying that we don't value ourselves. Like who thinks that way? No one thinks that way. But the impact and what happens the next time you go to make a promise is it just shows exactly how low, how little you think of yourself. When you go to make a promise and you're like, I better not make it too big. I probably won't do it.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Or when you say enthusiastically, yes, I'll do that. And in the back of your mind, you know that there's a significant chance that it's not going to get done. These are the things that we do, and we do them without even truly understanding how they impact us. And so that's why I want to talk about this. That's why I want to bring it into on your radar. You know, I want to bring it in front of your eyes. Like, think for yourself, honestly, how often do you make promises to yourself and then break them? So I had an example of this happen just yesterday. You know, every Tuesday I teach a fitness class, and it's insane how many life truths are revealed when you put somebody in a physically stressful circumstance. When people experience physical stress on their bodies react the same way that they would a different type of stress, you know, emotional stress, anything. Your body reacts, it falls back to your default pattern of reaction. So, for example, if you were to come to my class and I was to put you in a squat hold position, which is a seated squatting position against the wall, well, you're going to start feeling your legs really light up. Your muscles are going to start to burn a little bit. Your back might even get a little bit fatigued, and your body will start to shake. And that's when those conversations start happening in your head. All those things that you tell yourself when times get hard, when circumstances flare up, when life comes at you. All those conversations, all those rationalizations, those justifications for stopping, all of that stuff comes up when you're in a physically stressful circumstance. And so I love it. I love it because every week I get an opportunity to work on that in myself, and the people who show up for my class get an opportunity to work on that. And the way that this ties into promises is because when I lead my group through squat holds, I ask them to pick for themselves whether or not they want to do a 30-second, a 45-second, or a minute squat hold. So I say, who's doing 30 seconds? And everyone who's doing 30 seconds raises their hand. Who does 45? Everybody who's doing 45 raises their hand. Who's going to do a minute? Everybody who's doing a minute raises their hand. And what they're doing in that moment is making a promise. They're making a promise to themselves in front of other people, so now everybody else gets to hold them accountable, that they are going to do what they say they're going to do. And now, what do you think happens sometimes? With certain folks, there's a pattern of them quitting in the middle of the exercise. And what quitting in the middle of a squat hold looks like is you stand up out of the squat hold and you give your legs a break. So the whole idea is you sit down against the wall and you hold a position for either 30, 45, or 60 seconds. And at the end of that, I say stand, and then you stand and you give yourself a break. What certain folks do, however, is they will stand up and they will break that promise to themselves. They might commit to 30, but they stand up at 23. And then once they do that, the second that they do that, they've broken that promise, they've communicated to themselves that they aren't worthy, and they've established a pattern of quitting. They've established a pattern of breaking promises. And then what do you think happens the next time? They stand up again. And what do you think happens the next week? They fall back in that pattern. And what do you think happens weeks and months later? They've told themselves that it's okay to break that promise. It's just a squat hold. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything. I can break this promise. And then what do you think happens when people leave the gym environment and they go out into the real world? And they say, yeah, baby, I'll call you tonight at 8 p.m. And they don't call. Oh, it's okay. It's just a phone call. It's okay. Or you say, yeah, daughter, I'll be at your school at 5:30 to pick you up. 5:30 rolls around, you're not there. Oh, it's okay. I know I said 5:30, but it's okay. I can be there at 5:50. It's fine. She'll be okay. Or you commit to paying a bill and the due date comes around and you're like, I'm going to pay that bill, and then it comes and you're like, yeah, it's okay though. I'll let it lapse. I don't need to keep my promise. It's fine. Those things turn into patterns. They absolutely turn into patterns. And when you create a pattern of breaking promises to yourself, when you've created a pattern of being out of integrity with yourself, it ripples throughout the rest of your life. It ripples throughout the other roles, your role as a friend, your role as a spouse, your role as a sibling, as a partner, as a business owner, as an employee, whatever it is. Those things that start with you will end up extending outward because you bring all of yourself into those different roles. As much as we want to believe that we can compartmentalize, we don't. We can't. You literally can't leave your work self at work and not bring that home because your physical body, all the stuff, all your guts, everything that is you goes along wherever you go. So all those broken promises that you've made to yourself, well, they move from when you're in the office to when you're at the house to when you're out at play with your friends to when you're in church. It goes with you. That's why it's so important that you keep the promises you make to yourself. That's why it's so important you keep even the smallest of promises you make to yourself. And so if you're constantly telling yourself that this personal development stuff, you're going to get fit, or you're going to meditate more, you're going to journal, you're going to yoga, you're going to juice, whatever it is, you have the best of intentions with making those promises, but you don't follow through. And every time you don't follow through, you just communicate to yourself that you're not worth following through. You're not worth keeping those commitments. You're not worth doing what you say you're going to do. You're not worth the benefit that happens when you keep those commitments. You aren't worth growing into that person that you want to. Those are the things that you're communicating to yourself when you break those personal promises. And I don't want that for you because I've been there. I've done that shit myself. It's something that I work on. I work on all the time. I have an app. I have an app right now. It's called a balance chart. And I have habits on my balance chart that I am supposed to perform every day and log them throughout the week. And I get a point total. And at the end of the week, I get to see out of, let's just say my point total is 500 points. How many points did I hit? And I get a percentage. And right now, my percentage is 84%. 84%. So that means out of all the things that I said I'm going to do on my balance chart, and there's things on there that are related to fitness, lifestyle, consciousness. So there's things like working out and going for runs. There's things like juicing and sitting down and having a meal without watching TV and going on a date with my wife. And there's things like meditating and reading books and making love. There's all sorts of things on there. And so right now, I hit 84% of what I say I'm going to do. And you know what? That ripples out into other areas of my life. When I tell one of my clients that I'm going to shoot them an email at the end of the day, 84% of the time I do it. You know, when I tell my grandma that I'm going to give her a call, 84% of the time I do it. And that, for me, is way too low. I do not want to be a person who is known to keep their word 84% of the time. No, that doesn't fly. But that's how I'm showing up. And, you know, I feel very grateful that I have a tool that literally measures my integrity. And I'll put a link to the tool in the show notes for this episode. So if you're interested, you can go check it out yourself. But I want you all to have 100% integrity, the same way that I want it for myself. That's the standard that I'm holding for myself. Because I know what happens in your life, what shifts happen in yourself when you are so freaking confident that you will keep any promise that you make, no matter how big or no matter how small. You know that if I make a promise, I'm keeping that shit. No, there's no doubt that it is going to happen. That's what I want for both of us. So I have a couple of tips here, ways that can help you to keep more of the promises that you have in life. And these are things that I have done myself. I have seen work in myself and in other people. And so I'm passing them on to you because that's what this podcast is about. It's about me going out into the world, bumping my head, scraping my knee, failing, succeeding, and then passing those things on to you. So, part of this I got from an article that I was reading, just doing a little bit of research for this topic. And so I'll link to the article as well. But the very first thing is to make those promises that you keep, make them concrete. And so for this, I recommend SMART goals. Use SMART goals. You know, SMART is an acronym, stands for, okay, I'm going to try to see if I can get this. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So you want to make sure that your goals are SMART. That's the first thing.
Prescriptions, copays, lab tests. Even with insurance, healthcare can cost thousands every year. But not for me, because I'm enrolled in VA Healthcare. My service was then. My benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The second thing is to write it down. It's one thing to just say it. It's one thing to say I'm going to call someone. It's one thing to say I'm going to start a business. But it's another thing to actually write it down, to put it on your schedule, to open up your notebook and start jotting down the idea. So actually write down the promise. The third thing is start small. I think a lot of times people are, we tend to discredit small promises. We think that's not significant enough, when in fact, that's where it starts. That's how momentum builds. You start small and you get that feeling of what it's like to keep those commitments to yourself, keep those small commitments to yourself. You know, I'm going to go for a 15-minute walk today. Okay, cool. Keep it. It's small. Yeah, that's fine. But the impact of it is big. So as you're trying to work on moving your integrity from 50%, 60%, 75%, and you want to get it to 100, start small. The next tip is to do it no matter what. If you make a promise, do it. You are going to probably come up with a lot of excuses why you can't do it, why it's not a good idea to do it, why there's other things that are more important. Doesn't matter. Understand that your ego is going to rationalize. Your ego is going to justify. Your ego is going to deny. It's going to make excuses. But that all of that stuff is pushed aside because you made a promise. So you keep that promise. And the final tip I have for you is that if you are holding the standard for yourself, the standard of being in integrity, of doing what you say you're going to do, if you hold it for yourself, then hold it for other people as well. Especially those people who are closest to you, those people who you consider part of your inner circle. That's how you practice this. You know that idea of, in order to become more knowledgeable in something, you go and teach it to somebody else. That's the same principle. In order to become better at keeping your own word, you ensure that you hold the standard for other people to keep that word. You keep them accountable. You ask them to keep you accountable as well. So you do those 5 things, and I bet you that you will start to see that you are able to keep more promises to yourself. And I would love to hear the impact in your life when you begin to keep those promises more and more. I want to hear about how it has impacted your ability to make promises of different sizes, small promises. Maybe you were afraid of making big promises in the past, but now that you've seen that you can gain a little bit of momentum in yourself, you can now make bigger promises to yourself and to other people. Maybe you start to see that as you build that momentum, your confidence goes up and you believe in yourself more. Your self-esteem rises. Those are all consequences of keeping promises to yourself. And I want to hear about them. So email me. My personal email address is mattcbivens@gmail.com. Yes, that is my personal email address. I know I give it out on this show because I want to be accessible, and I love when you all reach out to me. And every week I receive emails from you guys, and they are freaking awesome. So that is my move for today. You know, in this show, I talk a lot about getting into action. It's one thing to read and to study and to meditate. Those are all great, but you need to actually act and get out there and experience things for yourself. So that is my move for today. It is to make some promises and keep some promises to yourself. And when you do that, check in with me. Let me know how it's going. Shoot me an email. So I am super grateful to you for listening. I'm grateful that you would hang out with me and allow me to chat with you for a little bit for these past 20 minutes or so. It's incredible. It's awesome. It's something that I don't take lightly. I'm very humbled that you tune in every week, and it's amazing. So thank you. If you get something out of this show consistently, consider subscribing to the show on iTunes. That would be awesome. Make sure that you get all the episodes as soon as I publish them. They hit your inbox. Boom. Oh, shit. You know what? This episode is an example of me keeping a promise because, excuse me, over the past few weeks, I have been slacking on publishing in the middle of the week. That was a promise I made back when I started this show. I wanted to have an episode out like Tuesday or Wednesday, like middle of the week. That was always my goal, middle of the week. But the past couple of weeks, I did not do that. Wednesday came and Wednesday went. Thursday came and Thursday went. And then all of a sudden I'm moving into the weekend. And by then I was like, I'll just publish the next week. I wasn't keeping promises. And I bet you if I took a few minutes, I could trace it back to small promises I wasn't keeping with myself first. That was then impacting my ability to keep promises to you all. So thank you for holding me accountable. Thank you. Because every time that you listen, every time I see that you're emailing me, it tells me that, okay, you're out there, you're listening, you're waiting for the episode when Wednesday comes around and it hasn't published. So right now, I literally just dawned on me that this episode is me keeping a commitment to myself, keeping a commitment to you all, and that's just helping my integrity, my ability to do what I say I'm going to do rise. It's helping me to move that percentage from 84 up. And that's a sweet thing. So, thank you again. I appreciate you. I love you. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.